Michael Adigun stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of his penthouse office in Echo Tower, surveilling Lagos like a king surveilling his kingdom. At 30, he'd built Adigun Tech from nothing. Lines of code transformed into an AI empire that made him one of the city's youngest tech billionaires. Below him, the city sprawled in all its contradictions, the waterlogged slums of Makoko hugging the coast, the gleaming mansions of Banana Island rising in defiance. He lived among those mansions, in a world where everything had a price and everyone could be bought. To Michael, people were simple equations, assets or liabilities, useful or disposable. Women, especially the sophisticated, beautiful women who circled him at every tech conference and society party, were the worst kind of liability. They wanted his money, his status, his name on their Instagram bios. He'd learned to reject them all with the same cold efficiency he used to kill underperforming code. His heart had calcified into something as hard and flawless as the Italian marble in his lobby. His personal assistant, Jessica, was the perfect gatekeeper, a dragon in Prada, her smile sharp as a blade, her loyalty to Michael absolute. She worshipped his power and mirrored his contempt for weakness. Together, they'd built an impenetrable fortress. The hum of silent servers filled his office as Michael stared at his iPhone 17 Pro Max. A text from a lawyer, words that made his jaw clench. Death, inheritance, hometown, land documents. His father, a man he'd barely known, barely mourned, had left him one final inconvenience. A plot of land in some forgotten village that needed his signature to finalize a major deal. The documents required his physical presence. He hated everything about it. The dust, the poverty, the inefficiency, the reminder that he'd come from nothing. He buzzed Jessica, "Get the G-Wagon ready." Far from the air-conditioned towers of Lagos, in a village where time moved differently, Anna wiped sweat from her forehead and adjusted the corn roasting on her coal brazier. Her hands bore the permanent stains of palm oil and smoke, badges of honest work that no amount of scrubbing could erase. She owned a small roadside store, nothing more. No mansion, no iPhone, no empire. Just her voice, her integrity, and her refusal to bow. The morning sky was clear. It would be a good day for sales. She was arranging fresh corn when she heard it, an engine sound that didn't belong. Deep, powerful, foreign. The rumble of money. A black G-Wagon rolled into the village square, its pristine paint now coated in the red dust of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It looked like a spaceship that had crash-landed in a history museum. Villagers stopped their morning routines to stare. The door opened. Michael Adigun stepped out, his Tom Ford suit already wilting in the humid air. He surveyed the village with barely concealed disgust. The smell of wood smoke, the chickens scratching in the dirt, the complete absence of Wi-Fi. His eyes found the nearest person, a girl at a corn stall. He strode towards her, already pulling out a 5,000 naira note. He was about to meet the one person in Lagos who couldn't be bought. The village market was just starting to life. The morning air carried the scent of fresh agege bread from the bakery and the earthy smell of yams being arranged in pyramids. Anna turned her corn carefully, watching the kernels brown evenly. Nearby, Mama Bola and two other market women sat on wooden benches, already gossiping. Under the massive mango tree, 4 old men hunched over an ayo board, carved wooden wells filled with seeds. They all looked up when the G-Wagon arrived. Michael didn't greet anyone. He simply approached Anna and waved the crisp note in her face like a man summoning a dog. "You," he said, his voice cutting through the peaceful morning. "I need to find the Adigun family house, now." Anna looked at his hand, then at his face. She continued turning her corn, her movements deliberate. "Good morning, sir. The Adigun house is far from here. You will need a proper guide." Michael scoffed. "I'm not asking for a life story. I'm paying you. Take the money and point." Anna stopped. She met his eyes directly, and her voice, though quiet, carried a weight that made even Mama Bola lean forward. "Even your money can't buy respect here, sir. I said good morning." Michael's face flushed. "What did you just say to me?" I said good morning, sir. You insignificant. He was trembling with rage. This village girl, this nobody selling corn, speaking to him like an equal. He threw the 5,000 naira note at her feet. Keep your miserable village. I'll find it myself. He turned back to his G-Wagon. Driver, now. The driver, clearly nervous about his boss's mood, gunned the engine. The massive wheel spun in a patch of wet red mud directly beside Anna's stall. What happened next seemed to occur in slow motion.
A tidal wave of thick red mud erupted from the tires. It hit Anna like a tsunami, covering her from head to toe, drenching her white blouse, smothering her carefully arranged corn, extinguishing her coals with a hiss. Her entire day's inventory, her only source of income, destroyed in 3 seconds. Anna stood frozen. The mud dripped from her hair onto her face, mixing with something hot behind her eyes. Her chest felt compressed, like she couldn't draw breath. She refused to let the tears fall. Instead, she stared at the M5,000 note, now soaked and half buried in the mud at her feet. The old men abandoned their Ayo game and stood up. Mama Bola gasped, her hand flying to her chest. This wicked boy! The other market women rushed toward Anna, shouting at the disappearing SUV. You have spoiled her market! God will judge you! You will answer for this! But they were just market women. He was in a G-Wagon. The distance between them was more than money. It was worlds. They watched the Lagos boy disappear in a cloud of dust and diesel fumes. Anna's knees trembled as she slowly bent down. She picked up the muddy note with shaking fingers. She tried to wipe the grit from a single ear of corn, but it crumbled in her hands, ruined beyond saving. Her day was over before it had truly begun. She began packing her destroyed things with mechanical movements, operating on autopilot. Another prayer that felt like it bounced back, she whispered. 2 months crawled by. The land deal that had brought Michael to the village required one final signature, and that signature could only happen in Lagos. Anna's uncle, who'd known Michael's late father years ago, pulled strings she didn't know existed. He'd gotten her an interview at Adigun Tech, not with Michael directly, but for a junior administrative position. She stood in the lobby and felt like she had entered another planet. Marble floor so polished she could see her reflection. Air conditioning so cold it made her skin prickle. A massive abstract painting that probably cost more than her family's house. Everything gleamed with the sheen of money. Anna wore her best dress, a simple Akara print she saved for church. It was clean and pressed, but faded from too many washings. The fabric was honest cloth, not the synthetic sheen of Lagos fashion. She clutched her full leather bag and approached the reception desk. Behind it sat Jessica, examining her perfect manicure, an Apple Watch gleaming on her wrist. Good morning, said Anna politely. I am Anna. I have an interview scheduled for 10 a.m. Jessica didn't look up from her computer screen. An interview for what position? Are you here about the cleaning contract? No, ma, for the junior administrative role. Jessica finally looked up. Her eyes traveled from Anna's practical flat shoes, up her church dress, to her neatly braided hair. It was a look of pure contempt, the kind of look that could flay skin. She laughed. It was a short, sharp sound like breaking glass. Busy, Jessica called to the other receptionist. This or Anna says she has an interview. Busy giggled behind her hand. Did you check with the delivery entrance? Maybe they meant catering staff. Please, Anna said, and hated how her voice shook. My uncle arranged this interview. I have the confirmation email. Your uncle? Jessica tapped her pen against the desk. And who is your uncle? The gate man? She pointed to a hard wooden bench, far from the comfortable waiting area where other candidates sat with their MacBooks. Sit over there and don't touch anything. You might leave stains on the leather. Anna's face burned. Her throat felt like it was closing. She glanced at the other candidates, sharp suits, confident postures, the casual wealth of people who belonged. She looked at her own hands, calloused from years of farm work and market stores. She walked to the bench and sat down, suddenly invisible. The 2 security guards near the entrance exchanged uncomfortable glances. They were used to Jessica's cruelty, but this felt excessive even for her. One leaned toward the other and whispered, "That PA is wicked." The other candidates didn't even look up. In Lagos, class warfare was so common it was barely worth noticing. Jessica made Anna wait. Her 10 a.m. slot came and went. She watched other candidates get called. 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m., noon. Each time Jessica called a name, Anna's hope deflated a little more. Finally, at 1 p.m., 3 hours after her scheduled time, Jessica called out her name, deliberately mispronouncing it.
Jessica led her not to an interview room, but to a small glass-walled waiting area. 3 other candidates sat there, all looking exhausted. They were the final batch of the day. Anna clutched her brown envelope. Inside was her only printed CV. She couldn't afford multiple copies. Her cracked Technophone showed 15% battery. Jessica stood at the doorway, her smile sickly sweet. The HR manager will be with you shortly. But first, let me see your documents. We need to verify everything meets our standards. Anna, still trusting that the world contained basic decency, handed over the envelope. Jessica pulled out the single sheet of paper. Her eyes scanned it quickly. University of Ibadan, second class upper, good grades, strong references. For a split second, something flickered across Jessica's face. Surprise, maybe even grudging respect. That flicker made her even angrier. "Oh dear," Jessica said loudly, holding the paper up to the light. "You have a stain here. How unprofessional." Before Anna could respond, Jessica tripped over her own Louboutin heel. She stumbled dramatically, and in the process, her hand tore the CV cleanly in half. She gasped with theatrical horror. "Oh my goodness, I am so clumsy. Your CV, it's completely ruined." One half of the paper fluttered to the floor like a dying bird. "That was my only copy," Anna whispered. Her voice was barely audible. "What a terrible shame," Jessica said, her eyes glittering with satisfaction. "Unfortunately, company policy is very clear. No CV, no interview. You will have to reschedule. Perhaps next quarter. Or next year." She tilted her head in mock sympathy. "Or next year." Anna stared at the two pieces of paper on the floor. 4 years of university, months of job searching, all the hope she had carried on the bus from Ibadan, torn in half. Her hands trembled so violently she could barely pick up the pieces. The 3 other candidates watched in absolute silence. They understood exactly what had happened. One young man in a blue suit quickly found something fascinating on his phone. A woman shook her head slowly but said nothing. To help Anna was to make an enemy of Jessica, and no one was that brave. "Security," Jessica called, her voice bright and cheerful. "Could you show this young lady out? She won't be needed today." Anna walked to the elevator, clutching the 2 halves of her CV. As the door slid closed, she saw Jessica laughing with BC, their heads close together, sharing the joke. But fate, or something larger, had other plans. Michael Adigun, paranoid by nature and obsessive about security, reviewed the office camera feeds every evening. It was a control thing. That night, he saw the footage. He saw the girl from the village. He saw Jessica tear the CV. He wasn't a good man. He wasn't suddenly overcome with compassion, but he was a man who valued order, and he hated messy, inefficient cruelty. It created problems. Annoyed, he called HR. "That village girl, hire her, mail room, I don't care, just fix this." So Anna was called back, not for the administrative role she interviewed for, but as a mailroom assistant. She accepted immediately, grateful for anything. When Jessica saw Anna walk in on her first day, rage flashed across her face. Michael had overridden her. This was a challenge to her authority. Anna wouldn't last a week if Jessica had anything to say about it. Jessica's new strategy was death by 1,000 cuts. She gave Anna a list of 10 offices to deliver packages to, but forgot to mention that 3 recipients were working from home. Anna would spend an hour trying to deliver them, only to return confused. Jessica would be waiting by the mailroom, arms crossed, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Anna, Anna, Anna," she would sigh dramatically. "Is it really that difficult? Must I do everything myself?" "But you said Mr. David was in his office," Anna would reply quietly. "Are you questioning me? Are you calling me a liar in front of everyone? Just do your job properly. Your mates from university are running departments. You can't even deliver a simple package. Unbelievable." "I'm sorry, ma. I will try again."
Don't ma'am me. Just be competent. Is that too much to ask from someone with a second-class upper? Anna would bow her head. "No, ma'am." Her chest ached with the unfairness of it, but she had no defense. The other mailroom staff watched these exchanges with sympathetic eyes,
but no one spoke up. The mailroom supervisor, Mr. Tunde, would simply return to his paperwork. The message was clear: you're on your own. Anna would have to call the recipients, rearrange the deliveries, take the packages again. It made her look incompetent and slow. Her probation report, which Jessica had input on, was damning. Slow to learn, needs constant supervision, questionable work ethic. The Adigon Tech cafeteria occupied the entire 10th floor, bright, modern, expensive. A single plate of jollof rice cost 5,000 naira, nearly a tenth of Anna's daily wage. She couldn't afford to eat there, so she brought her own food from home, a small container of rice and eforiro she'd cooked the night before. She chose a table in the far corner, trying to make herself invisible. But Jessica and her clique, two women from the marketing department, walked in. Jessica's eyes found Anna immediately. She smiled. It was feeding time. They sat at the table directly next to Anna's. Jessica sniffed the air with exaggerated disgust. Ugh, what is that smell? Her voice carried across the room. Her friend played along perfectly. It smells like, I don't know, like blocked drainage or that Oyingbo market. No, wait. Jessica turned and pointed directly at Hannah's food container. It's coming from there, from her. Some people really should leave their village food in the village. This is a corporate environment, not a roadside buka. The cafeteria, which had been buzzing with conversation, went silent. 40 pairs of eyes turned toward Hannah. Hannah froze, her spoon halfway to her mouth. Seriously? Jessica continued, playing to her audience. It's disgusting. I'm losing my appetite. How can anyone eat that slop in public? The food turned to ash in Hannah's mouth. Her stomach, which had been growling for hunger moments before, twisted into knots. She slowly, carefully put the lid back on her container. She couldn't take another bite. The shame was suffocating. People stared. A few of Jessica's friends giggled behind their hands. Most people looked down at their own meals, embarrassed for Hannah, but unwilling to intervene. One of the kitchen staff, a kind older woman who'd always smiled at Hannah, looked at her with deep pity, but she couldn't risk her job by speaking up. Hannah stood up, her uneaten lunch in her bag, and walked out. The entire cafeteria watched her leave in silence. From that day forward, Hannah ate her lunch in the fire escape stairwell, alone, in the dark, where no one could see her cry. Michael Adigun was in the grip of volcanic rage. A 1 billion naira deal was threatening to collapse because of delayed permits, and he had exactly 90 minutes to make a flight to Abuja to salvage it. He stormed out of his office and into his G-Wagon. Airport now, he barked at Samuel, his driver, a quiet, dignified man in his late 50s who'd worked for the company for 3 years. Samuel navigated Lagos's chaotic traffic with practiced skill. But on the Third Mainland Bridge, everything came to a complete standstill. An accident ahead. The bridge was a parking lot. Michael looked at his Patek Philippe. His flight left in 45 minutes. He was going to miss it. I told you to leave earlier, Michael roared. Sir, we left an hour before your flight time. This accident only just happened. Excuses. You're incompetent. I pay you to solve problems, not give me excuses. Michael was practically vibrating with fury. Pull over. Sir, we're on the bridge. I said pull over, now. Samuel, his hands trembling, eased the G-Wagon toward the railing. It was 3 p.m. The bridge was packed. Cars honked furiously. Get out. Michael said, his voice dangerously quiet. Sir?
Get out of my vehicle. You're fired, right now. Please, Oga Michael, I have 3 children in university. My wife is sick. Please don't do this to me. Get out, Michael screamed. He physically leaned over and opened the passenger door, then shoved Samuel. Samuel, a man old enough to be Michael's father, stumbled out onto the bridge. Michael slid into the driver's seat and roared off, weaving through traffic with reckless speed. Anna was in a dancehall bus stuck in the same traffic. The bus was packed with exhausted workers heading home. She stared out the window, lost in thought, when she saw it. The big black G-Wagon, the proud, arrogant CEO behind the wheel, and standing alone on the bridge, abandoned, an elderly man in a driver's uniform
holding his cap in his hands, staring at the lagoon far below. "Ah, rich people are wicked," the bus conductor shouted. "He just fire ham on top of Third Mainland. Jesus Christ." The woman pressed against Anna hissed through her teeth. "God will punish that boy. No respect at all." Anna's heart broke for the man. She recognized him, Samuel, one of the few drivers who'd smiled at her in the parking garage, who'd held doors open, who'd said good morning like he meant it. The downfall crawled past. Samuel stood there, a tiny, abandoned figure against the vast lagoon. Anna closed her eyes and whispered a prayer for him. She didn't know that prayer was planting seeds of her own salvation. 3 days later came the moment everything would change. Mr. Bello, the investor whose meeting had been ruined, was giving Adigun Tech one final chance. He was coming to the office for a presentation. The boardroom was packed with 30 people, Michael, 10 VPs, and Mr. Bello's entire team. It was make or break. Anna was assigned to serve tea and coffee. She moved quietly along the wall, trying to be invisible. Michael stood at the podium, confident and commanding. "Thank you all for coming. Let's begin." He nodded to Jessica, who was operating the presentation laptop. "Bring up the deck." Jessica clicked. The massive projector screen flared to life, showing only a blue error screen. File not found. Micah went pale. "What is this? Jessica, where's the presentation file?" I don't know, sir. It was here this morning." Jessica looked genuinely panicked. Then her eyes landed on Anna, who was quietly placing a cup of tea beside Mr. Bello. "Wait," Jessica said, her voice sharp. "Anna was the last person near this laptop. She said she was checking the connection before the meeting." 30 pairs of eyes swiveled toward Anna. "What?" Anna froze, the teapot still in her hand. I only plugged in the HDMI cable. I never touched any files." "Don't lie." Jessica's voice rose to a shout. "Sir, I saw her typing something. I thought it was strange at the time. She must have deleted the presentation." "You!" Michael roared, his voice echoing off the glass walls. "You destroyed $1 billion deal. You!" Mr. Bello, the investor, raised an eyebrow. His voice was calm but cutting. "This is your team, Mr. Adigun. This is how you run your company." "She's not my team," Michael shouted, losing all composure. "She's nobody. Security!" Anna stood trapped in the center of the room, her heart hammered so hard she thought her ribs would crack. Her vision blurred at the edges. I didn't. I never," she whispered, but no one was listening. The VPs looked horrified, not the injustice, but the unprofessionalism being displayed in front of an investor. Mr. Bello's team exchanged significant glances. This company was chaos. Jessica watched with a mask of shocked concern on her face. 10 minutes earlier, from her own desk, she had remotely deleted the presentation file. "Get her out of my sight," Michael commanded. "She's fired. Remove her from this building immediately." 2 security guards entered and grabbed Anna by her arms. She was dragged out of the boardroom, the most important meeting of the year, like a common criminal.
But the humiliation wasn't finished. Jessica followed the guards as they marched Anna through the 9th floor open office toward the mail room. Over 100 employees stopped working. Phones came out. Everyone was filming the walk of shame. Anna, crying silently, began putting her few belongings into her bag, a pen, a notebook, her food container from that morning. Jessica stepped forward, her voice ringing with false authority. "Wait, check her bag properly." The head of security, a large man who looked uncomfortable, sighed. "Ma'am, please, let's just let her go." "No, she just sabotaged $1 billion deal. Check her bag thoroughly. That's an order." The guard, following protocol, unzipped Anna's bag. He reached inside. His hand emerged holding a stack of company letterhead. He frowned. He reached in again. This time his hand came out with a thick bundle of 1,000 naira notes. Maybe 200,000 naira total. Jessica gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Oh my God." She snatched the letterhead and examined it. This is Michael's signature. She's been forging his signature." She held up the papers for everyone to see. "She's a thief. She's been stealing from the company." The entire office erupted. She was forging checks. That's what she was doing on the laptop, stealing company data. Call the police. No! Anna screamed. It was a raw, desperate sound that came from somewhere deep in her chest. That's not mine. I've never seen that money. I've never seen those papers. Jessica put them there. She planted everything. But no one listened. They were all staring at the evidence. Phones were out, recording. This was the best office gossip in months. Village girl caught stealing. The video was already spreading through the company WhatsApp groups. Jessica stood back, playing the role of the shocked hero who'd uncovered corporate theft. That's enough, the security guard said, his face hard. He grabbed Anna's wrist. You are coming with us, now. Anna was dragged, kicking, crying, screaming her innocence, through the entire open office, into the elevator, down to the marble lobby. She was thrown on the floor at the building's entrance. Don't ever come back here, the guard said. Anna sat on the pavement outside Adigun Tech for over an hour, completely numb. Her phone kept buzzing. The video of her being dragged out was everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, office WhatsApp groups. Her landlord texted, I saw the video. You are a thief. Pack your things. I want you out by tomorrow morning. She had nowhere to go. Her uncle wouldn't answer his phone. She was branded a criminal, destroyed. She started walking. She walked for hours from Victoria Island across the mainland, her feet blistering in her cheap shoes. She had no destination, no plan, just movement. She ended up in Surulere at 2 a.m., standing outside a small RCCG parish. The night vigil had ended, but the church doors were still open. She was exhausted beyond words. Her body ached. Her name was destroyed. Her life in Lagos was finished. She had lost everything. Michael had humiliated her for his pride, but Jessica had destroyed her out of pure, calculated hatred. She slipped into the empty church and walked down the aisle toward the altar. Her body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She didn't kneel. She collapsed, falling forward until she was prostrate on the cold tile floor. Father Lord, she wept, her voice barely a whisper. Jehovah, you see me. You see how they've humiliated me. You know I didn't do any of this. You saw what Jessica did. They have everything. Cars, money, beautiful houses, and I have nothing. My name is gone. Father, I'm not asking for money. I'm not even asking for revenge. I'm just asking for the truth. Let the truth come out. God, I need just one person to believe me. Send me one friend, just one. One person to fight for me when I can't fight anymore. I'm so tired, God, so tired. My phone is dead. My spirit is broken. If you don't help me, I don't know what happens next. I can't fight anymore. I'm leaving everything in your hands. Her last tear fell onto the tile. Her body, starved of food, sleep, and hope, finally surrendered. Anna fell into a deep, exhausted sleep right there on the church floor. Her cracked technophone lay beside her, its screen black and lifeless.
It was over, or so she thought. Sunlight, warm and gentle, streamed through the church's stained glass windows, painting colors across Anna's face. She opened her eyes slowly, disoriented. For one merciful second, she didn't remember. Then it all crashed back. Fired, framed, homeless, a thief in everyone's eyes. She sat up stiffly. Her body ached from sleeping on the hard floor. The church was empty except for an older woman in a white garment sweeping the aisle. The woman saw her and smiled without judgment, offering a small cup of water. Anna drank gratefully, her throat raw from crying. She was about to thank the woman when the main church door opened. A man stood silhouetted against the bright morning light. He was dressed simply, jeans and a clean polo shirt. He looked ordinary, but he scanned the church with purpose. His eyes found Anna. He walked directly towards her. Anna flinched. Was it someone from the office? Had they sent someone to arrest her? The man stopped a few feet away. His face was kind but serious. Excuse me, he said quietly. Are you Anna? Anna's heart hammered. Who are you? How do you know my name? The man looked at her with strange understanding. You prayed last night. You asked God to send one person to fight for you.
Anna's blood ran cold. How could you possibly know that? The church was empty. Because I was sent, he said simply. My name is Samuel. Anna stared at him, her mind struggling to catch up. Samuel, the driver, Michael's driver, the one he fired on the bridge. The same. He pulled out a chair and sat down. I know what Jessica did to you, all of it, from the torn CV to the money planted in your bag, and I have proof of everything. Anna's world tilted. But you were fired. How do you have proof of anything? This is Lagos, Anna. God works in ways we can't imagine. Samuel leaned forward, his voice steady and sure. When Michael fired me on that bridge, I was destroyed, just like you. I lost my job, my dignity, my income. My family depends on me. But 3 days later, I got a new job, a better one. Who hired you? Mr. Bellu, the investor whose meeting was ruined. Anna gasped. He's a brilliant man, Samuel continued. He thought Michael was arrogant and sloppy. He didn't believe for 1 second that you, a mailroom worker, had sabotaged that presentation. It was too obvious, too crude. He suspected Jessica immediately. So he hired me as his personal driver, knowing I'd worked at Adigun Tech. He asked me to quietly investigate whether Michael's company was stable or built on lies and chaos. And what I found was you, and Jessica's campaign to destroy you. But the prayer, how did you know what I prayed? I've been looking for you since I heard you were thrown out. I knew Jessica had framed you. She's been vicious to everyone beneath her for years. I went to your apartment, but the landlord said you'd left. Something told me to check the churches in the area. This was the 3rd one I tried. God led me here. He pulled out his phone, a solid Samsung. Mr. Bello has a security team that makes Adigun Tech look like amateurs. They pulled the real security footage, the footage Jessica thought was deleted. Samuel's voice grew firm. Here's what we're going to do. First, he handed her 50,000 naira cash. Go to the market across the street. Buy a new dress. Something that makes you feel strong. Get food. Charge your phone. This isn't charity. This is a war chest. Anna stared at the money, her hand trembling. I can't accept this. Yes, you can. Second, Michael has called an emergency all-staff meeting for 3 p.m. today. He's going to use you as an example of what happens to thieves. He's planning to fire more people to look strong. I can't go back there, Samuel. They'll arrest me on sight. They won't, because you'll be walking in with Mr. Bellu and with me. Samuel's eyes held hers. Anna, your suffering was not wasted. It was preparation. You had to be brought completely low, so God could raise you up in front of everyone who watched you fall.
The same people who saw you suffer will see you vindicated. What Jessica meant for evil, God is turning into your testimony. By 4 p.m. today, your entire life will be different. Can you trust me? Be at the front gate at 2:45 p.m. Anna looked at this man who'd also been humiliated by Michael's cruelty. She saw truth in his eyes. She took the money. I've trusted God this far, she said quietly. I'll trust his messenger. Samuel smiled. Good. I'll see you at 2:45. Be strong, Anna. He stood and walked out of the church. Anna stood there, cash in her trembling hand. For the first time in months, she took a full, deep breath. It's not over, she whispered. It's finally beginning. Anna moved with purpose. She went to the small market and bought a simple, elegant blue dress. Not flashy, but dignified. She bought new black flats. In a small buka, she ordered amala and ewedu and ate slowly, savoring every bite. It tasted like the best meal of her life. She charged her dead phone at a small stall. When it powered on, it exploded with notifications, 99 WhatsApp messages, 40 missed calls, all from her family and old friends asking about the viral video. She ignored them all. She sent one text message to Samuel, I'm ready. Across Lagos, Jessica was having the best day of her life. She'd arrived at work to congratulations from everyone. You exposed the thief. You saved the company. Even Michael had given her a rare compliment. Good work, Jessica. Vigilance like yours is valuable. She posted an Instagram story.
a selfie in her red power suit, caption, cleaning house, #boss moves, #loyalty. She had no idea what was coming for her. Samuel sat in a black Lexus outside Mr. Bello's Ikoyi office. His phone buzzed with Anna's text. He smiled. "She's ready, sir," Samuel said. In the back seat, Mr. Bello finished a phone call. "Excellent. The digital forensics team just sent the final package. We have everything. The voice recordings from her desk phone, the original file she deleted, and the hallway CCTV footage showing her planting the evidence. It's airtight." "What about Michael?" Samuel asked. "Michael is a fool, but he's about to learn a very expensive lesson. Let's go teach it to him." At 1:30 p.m., an email blast went to all Adigun staff. Subject: urgent and mandatory all-staff meeting. Time: 3 p.m. today. Location: main conference hall. Attendance is required. Jessica saw the email and smiled. Michael was going to praise her publicly. She reapplied her red lipstick. The main conference hall was packed. Over 150 employees filled the rows of chairs. The mood was tense. People expected more firings after the theft scandal. The massive projector screen at the front displayed the Adigun Tech logo. Senior VPs sat in the front row looking grim. Security guards stood at every door. This wasn't a normal meeting. Jessica made her entrance at 2:58 p.m. She wore her sharpest red suit, her heels clicking against the marble like a victory match. She air-kissed colleagues and accepted whispered congratulations and took a reserved seat in the front row beside the VPs. She pulled out her phone to text her friends. "It's starting."
Michael's jaw dropped. "Mr. Bello? I wasn't expecting you. This is an internal matter." Clearly, Mr. Bello's voice boomed through the silent hall. "We're here to discuss your security breach. Please sit down, Michael. We have a presentation to show everyone." The room erupted in confused whispers. "Mr. Bello? Is that Samuel, the old driver? What's happening?" Mr. Bello, Anna, and Samuel walked down the center aisle. Every eye followed them. They took positions at the front, facing the crowd. "Please, everyone, silence," Mr. Bello commanded. The room obeyed instantly. He carried more natural authority than Michael ever had. "Mr. Adigun," Mr. Bello said calmly, "you called this meeting to discuss a thief. Excellent. I'm here to do exactly the same." He nodded to Samuel, who moved to the podium and unplugged Michael's laptop, replacing it with his own. Jessica's face showed the first flicker of real panic. "Sir, with respect, this is a private company meeting. I must ask you to leave." "I own 30% of this private company, young lady. I'm here to protect my investment. Now, sit down." Jessica sat. Samuel stood beside the podium, his voice calm and clear. "Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samuel. Many of you know me. I was Mr. Adigun's driver until he fired me on 3rd Mainland Bridge 3 weeks ago." A murmur ran through the crowd. Samuel looked directly at Jessica. "Miss Jessica, please stand." Reluctantly, she stood, her hands clenched at her sides. "Yesterday, you accused Anna of theft and sabotage. Is that correct?" Jessica lifted her chin. "Yes, it's absolutely true. I caught her red-handed. I was protecting this company." She even managed a tear. "It was traumatic, but it was my duty." "So you stand by your story that Anna deleted the presentation file, that Anna forged signatures, that Anna stole 200,000 naira?" "Yes, everyone saw the evidence. Ask anyone in this room." "Very well." Samuel's voice was quiet, but it carried weight. "Then you won't mind if we show everyone what we saw." He looked at Anna. "Anna, you stayed silent while they destroyed your life. You didn't have the power to defend yourself, but God did." He pressed a key on the laptop. "Everyone, please direct your attention to the screen." The projector screen flickered. The Adigun Tech logo disappeared. CCTV footage appeared, crisp and clear. The first clip showed the 9th floor hallway, time-stamped 10:30 a.m. the previous day.
The camera angle was from above, showing Jessica at her desk when she thought no one was watching. The footage showed Jessica pulling out company letterhead. She was practicing Michael's signature. Over and over until it was perfect, she examined her work, smiled, and tucked the forged documents into her designer bag. The room gasped. Michael's head snapped toward Jessica, his eyes wide. The second clip was time-stamped 2 p.m. inside the boardroom before the investor meeting. It showed Jessica alone at the presentation laptop. She glanced toward the door, then clicked through menus. Delete, confirm. The file vanished. Then she inserted a USB drive. A few more clicks. The error screen appeared, the same one that would display during the meeting. No, someone whispered from the crowd. The third clip was the most damning. The 9th floor open office, time-stamped 2:45 p.m., while Anna was in the boardroom serving tea, clearly visible on another camera angle. It showed Jessica walking casually to the mailroom area. She looked around carefully. Then she quickly opened Anna's bag, dropped in the stack of forged letterhead and the bundle of cash, and walked away. The whole thing took 15 seconds. The room sat in absolute horrified silence. But Samuel wasn't finished. He pressed another key. And now a phone call, from Jessica's desk phone to her friend, recorded 1 hour after Anna was thrown out.
Jessica's voice, smug and laughing, filled the hall through the speakers. Girl, you should have seen her face. She was crying and screaming, "It's not mine, it's not mine," like anyone who believed her. Laughter from both voices. I know, right? That stupid village girl. She really thought she could work here. I've hated her since she talked back to Michael in that village. Now she's gone for good. Finished. And Michael thinks I'm a hero. He's probably going to promote me, I swear. More laughter. Jessica, you're so wicked. I know. Anyway, let me go. I have to post this on my story. The recording ended. The silence in the room was deafening. Jessica was hyperventilating, her chest heaving. That's not me. It's fake. It's AI. Someone deep-faked my voice. They edited everything. Mr. Bellow's voice cut through her panic. We had both the video and audio verified by an independent forensics laboratory this morning, Miss Jessica. It's authentic. That's your voice. That's your face. That's your crime. You hacked my phone. You spied on me. That's illegal. Protecting my 30% investment from internal sabotage and fraud is not illegal. What you did, however, most certainly is. The entire room turned on her. The VPs who'd congratulated her that morning looked disgusted. Colleagues physically moved their chairs away from her. She framed an innocent person. That's pure evil. I always knew she was a snake. This is already going viral. Someone was recording the screen with their phone. Michael Adigu stared at Jessica. His face was pale, his hands trembling. For the first time in his life, he saw his own arrogance reflected back at him. He'd allowed this. He'd created the environment where someone like Jessica could thrive. He'd fired Samuel in rage. He'd humiliated Anna in the village. He'd thrown an innocent woman out of his company without even asking for her side of the story. Jessica, he said, his voice shaking. She turned to him, her eyes wild with panic. Michael, sir, don't believe them. It's all lies. I did everything for you to protect your company. You didn't just frame an innocent person, Michael said, his voice rising with each word. You sabotaged my presentation. You forged my signature. You committed fraud. You lied to me. You lied to everyone. You destroyed a young woman's life for what? Because she had the courage to tell me I was wrong? Jessica's legs gave out. She fell to her knees on the polished floor. Her perfect red suit crumbling. Her designer bag fell, its contents spilling. Makeup, AirPods, her iPhone clattering across the floor. "Please, sir, please. I did it for you. She wasn't one of us. She was beneath you. She didn't belong here." Those were the worst words she could have chosen. Michael looked at Anna, standing there with quiet dignity in her simple blue dress. The village girl who told him his money couldn't buy respect. The woman who endured months of torture and never once lied or schemed or destroyed anyone. He finally understood what real strength looked like. "You," Michael said to Jessica, "are the one who doesn't belong." He pulled out his phone. He didn't call building security. He dialed 112, the emergency line. "Yes, I need police at Adigun Tech, Echo Tower, Victoria Island. I have an employee who has just been caught on camera committing corporate fraud, forgery, and criminal defamation." "Yes, I'll hold." Jessica screamed, "No, not jail. Please, Michael. I'll leave. I'll disappear. Don't do this." "You tried to send an innocent woman to jail," Michael said, his voice cold and final. "You sabotaged a $1 billion deal. You forged my signature. You will face every legal consequence."
You are fired, Jessica, and you're under arrest. Two police officers who'd been waiting in the lobby with Mr. Bello's team walked in. They moved through the crowd of stormed employees. They pulled Jessica to her feet. They handcuffed her wrists behind her back. She was sobbing now, her perfect makeup streaming down her face in black rivers. "You'll all regret this. I'll sue. I'll destroy all of you." The employees parted like the Red Sea as the officers led her down the aisle. Everyone was filming. The video of Jessica, the office queen, the woman who'd just been posting victory selfies that morning, being led away in handcuffs, would be on every Lagos gossip blog by evening. Through it all, Anna said nothing. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply watched with calm eyes as justice unfolded. As the doors closed behind Jessica's screams, Anna finally closed her eyes and exhaled a breath she'd been holding for months. A single tear of relief traced down her cheek. "It's over," she whispered to Samuel. "No, it's just beginning." The room remained frozen in stunned silence. Michael Adigun, standing at the podium in front of his entire company, did something he'd never done in his life. He bowed his head. "Anna," his voice cracked. He couldn't look at her. I don't have words. What I did to you in your village, what I allowed to happen here, I was blind. I was cruel. I'm sorry." The other staff members who'd laughed in the cafeteria, who'd whispered about the village thief, who'd watched her suffer in silence, they came forward now, suddenly brave. "We're so sorry, Anna. Please forgive us. We should have spoken up." Anna looked at them all, these people who'd watched her eat alone in the stairwell, who'd recorded her humiliation. She took a breath. "I forgive you," she said simply. Mr. Bello stepped forward. "Anna, you've demonstrated extraordinary character under impossible circumstances. I would be honored if you would consider a senior position at my company, starting today if you wish." Michael quickly added, "Or you can have any position you want here. Jessica's role, a VP position, anything, please." Anna looked at them both, these powerful men, suddenly caught in her favor. She smiled, really smiled, for the first time in months. "Thank you both, truly. But I think I have my own path to walk now." 6 months later, the modest 2-bedroom apartment in Surulere was filled with morning light. Anna watered the plants on her small balcony, looking out over the neighborhood. The apartment wasn't a mansion, but it was hers. It had reliable Wi-Fi, a full fridge, and a sense of peace she'd never known. The settlement from Adigun Tech had been substantial. Michael had insisted, and his lawyers hadn't argued. Mr. Bello had offered seed investment for a business idea she'd been developing. She had taken both and built something new. Suru Logistics was now 6 months old.
The name meant patience in Yoruba, a tribute to everything she'd learnt. Her company connected rural farmers directly with buyers in Lagos, cutting out exploitative middlemen. The farmers got fair prices, the buyers got fresh produce, and Anna was CEO. Samwa was her COO. They made a perfect team. Two people who'd been broken by the same man, now building something beautiful together. Her family, who'd seen the viral videos of both her humiliation and her vindication, were her biggest supporters. She was respected now. She was a CEO. She was free. She smiled easily now. She laughed without fear. She ate her efforiri at her own desk in her own office, and it tasted like victory. Her testimony had gone viral, not because she'd sought attention, but because people needed hope. She spoke at churches and tech conferences, from Village Con to Lagos CEO. She had started a small foundation helping girls from her village get education and business training.
As for Jessica, the court case had been brutal and public. Corporate fraud, forgery, defamation, the charges piled up. She was found guilty on multiple counts. Her designer life evaporated, replaced by a prison cell. Her name became a warning whispered in Lagos offices. Don't be a Jessica. Anna often stood at her office window, reflecting on everything she'd learned. The pain had a purpose, she'd tell people. The mud in the village, the torn CV, the stairwell lunches, they weren't punishments, they were preparation. God was testing my character in private before he could trust me with a public testimony. Wicked people like Jessica always overplay their hand. They get so drunk on cruelty that they get sloppy. They forget that God is always watching. You can't build a life on someone else's pain. The foundation is rotten and it will collapse. I stayed quiet when they mocked me, not because I was weak, but because I knew my words were useless against their lies. When you stop defending yourself, God defends you, and his evidence is always louder, always clearer, always perfect. Help came when I hit absolute zero. On that church floor, I stopped trying to save myself. I learned that God's delays aren't denials. Samuel was being positioned even while he was being humiliated. Our paths had to cross at exactly the right moment. They could take my job, my home, my reputation, but they could never take my dignity. How you act when you have nothing shows the world who you really are. One afternoon, there was a knock at her office door. Anna looked up from her laptop. A familiar figure stood in the doorway. Michael Adigun. He wasn't wearing a designer suit, just simple jeans and a polo shirt. He looked humble. I know I have no right to be here, and I know sorry will never be enough, but I had to see you, to see what you've built. He held out a tablet. I want to invest in Suru Logistics, silently, as a minority stakeholder. No control, no strings, no photo ops. You've become a better CEO than I ever was. You lead with integrity. I'm still learning what that word means. Anna studied him. She saw genuine change in his eyes, the kind that comes from being truly broken and rebuilt. Michael, that day in the village when I told you your money couldn't buy respect, you thought I was being disrespectful, but I was trying to save you from yourself. He nodded, his throat tight. I know that now. Too late, but I know. It's not too late, Anna said gently. It's never too late to become who you're meant to be. Yes, you can invest. But more than that, come back in 2 weeks. I want you to meet the farmers we work with. I want you to sit with them, learn from them. They'll teach you what real wealth looks like. Michael's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Anna. After he left, Anna returned to her balcony. The sun was setting over Lagos, painting the sky in gold and purple. She thought about the girl who'd stood in that village market, covered in mud, holding a soggy 5,000 naira note. She thought about the woman who had collapsed on a church floor, broken and alone. She wasn't that girl anymore, but she needed to be that girl to become this woman. Her phone buzzed. A message from a young woman in her village.
Sister Anna, I got accepted to university. Your foundation scholarship. I'm going to study computer science. Thank you. Anna smiled and typed back. The hard part is just beginning, but you are ready. Remember, dignity isn't given, it's kept. No matter what happens, keep yours. She looked out over Lagos, the city that tried to destroy her and ended up making her stronger. This is real. It happens every day in offices, markets, and churches across Lagos and beyond. Someone is being humiliated right now. Someone is being framed. Someone is crying in a stairwell, believing their prayers bounce back unanswered. If that's you, if you are the one suffering, your prayer isn't bouncing back. Your humiliation is not the end of your story. Your Samuel is already being positioned. Your evidence is already gathering. The God who sees in secret is preparing your public vindication. Hold on, just a little longer. If you're watching someone suffer, your silence is a choice. Your video recording is a choice. Don't be the crowd that just watches and shares. You might be the helper someone prayed for. Speak up. Stand up. Be brave when it costs you something. If you are the one doing the hurting, stop. Your Jessica moment is coming. The cameras you don't see are rolling. The recordings you don't know about are saving. No designer suit can cover a wicked heart. No promotion is worth your soul. The temporary thrill of cruelty leads to permanent consequences. God sees everything. Every tear, every lie, every silent prayer, every calculated betrayal. He keeps perfect records, and he settles every account, sometimes in this life, always in the next. Your character in the dark determines your testimony in the light. Share this story. Someone needs to hear it today. Someone needs to know that their midnight is almost over. Someone needs to know that the same God who vindicated Anna is watching them too. Their dawn is coming.
Sometimes, God hides your breakthrough inside the very storm meant to drown you. A seed only grows after it's buried, and gold is only purified after it survives the fire. Remember this. The people who throw mud today may be the same ones who one day witness your rise. Life has a way of revealing hearts, humbling the proud, and lifting those who endure with integrity. When the season feels unfair, hold tight. What is planted in tears often returns as a harvest in joy. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and share this story with a friend. You never know whose faith, courage, or hope might be revived by hearing it. Let's give someone one more thing to think about and one more reason not to give up.